As a junior in high school, he caught 4 passes, was not ranked as a recruit, and wasn't even a top 30 recruit in his city. Flash forward to the 2022 NFL Draft, and this guy had one of the best combine performances ever, could go in the first round, and is one of the best wide receivers in his school's history. In today's video, I'm going to introduce you to this guy, talk about his impossible journey to this point, and how I think he will fit into the NFL. So, without further ado, let's get started. So you're probably wondering who the subject of today's video is, and it is none other than North Dakota State wide receiver Christian Watson, who recently has been projected as high as the first round. But who is Watson? Well, football ran in his family, as his father played in the NFL for 5 years, and his older brother Trey Watson played linebacker at both Illinois and Maryland, and was a second-team All-American. Christian was competitive and loved football, but he was honestly a bit behind all the other 2022 NFL Draft prospects. Flash forward to his junior year of high school, and only one college coach saw potential in him. His name was Tiff Austin, and he was an assistant coach for North Dakota State. He would fly out to Plant High School in Tampa Bay, Florida, and he knew this kid had the potential to be special. Other people just didn't see it. He said, quote, "Trey was always the star. Everybody knew he was the player. Christian was the run. His brother had all the attention. Christian didn't get a lot of playing time because he wasn't the fastest or the strongest or any of that growing up. He wasn't even the best wide receiver on his team. In fact, it wasn't even close. Whop Philyor was an 1,000-yard receiver for Plant High School and was a teammate of his. Philyor went on to sign with Indiana, where he became an 1,000-yard receiver and even got a shot in the NFL. Christian was a complete afterthought on his team. There honestly was good reason for it though. He was still going through a growth spurt and he just did not look like he could play high-level football. Watson was still going through a growth spurt at the time and he just did not look like a Power 5 football player, or even D1 for that matter. There were Power 5 teammates of his though at Plant, so it wasn't like coaches weren't seeing him. They just didn't care. Going back to that assistant coach at NDSU, he had a different recruiting strategy. And maybe that's why NDSU has become an FCS power. He said, quote, "I'm looking for that kid, that diamond in the rough that the Power 5s are overlooking. Maybe the kid who might be a little bit slower or 1 inch shorter, or just missing that one thing that Power 5 or major schools are not looking at." Then, Watson caught a break. He grew a few inches in a couple of months, started to run faster, and his coordination blossomed. That's when Austin knew they needed to sign this kid before other big schools found out about him. But he would have to convince the rest of the Bison staff to take a chance on him. They all looked at his tape and they saw his speed, catching ability, and how he moved, and the staff said he was the #1 receiver out of the dozen or so that they watched that day in film. Eventually, both the offensive coordinator and Chris Kleiman agreed, and they offered Watson. His stats to this point absolutely suck though. As a junior, he literally caught 4 passes for 2 touchdowns. That is not the kind of numbers that's going to get you to college football. But as I said, they saw the potential in him, and they got him to visit Fargo, and 1 week later, he was 100% locked in and committed. Because of his talents, coaches were pretty worried that big programs would find him, but they didn't, and he became a Bison. What's even crazier is as a recruit, he wasn't even a top 30 ranked player in the Tampa Bay area. He had 300 yards and 8 touchdowns as a senior, but Whop Philyor had an incredible year, so Watson was always overlooked, and Philyor might be the reason why Watson didn't have bigger offers. 24/7 Sports agreed with everyone else, as he was ranked a 2-star recruit, the number 501 wide receiver, and the 3,689th best player in the class of 2017. Also, it seems that North Dakota State was his only real offer, and the only ones who saw potential in him. He would end up living up to that potential. After not playing in 2017, he'd catch 9 passes for 165 yards in 2018, then he would have a breakout season in 2019. With Trey Lance at quarterback, he caught 34 passes for 732 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he was one of the top targets on the team. In a very shortened 2020 season for NDSU, he caught 18 passes for 437 yards and 1 touchdown. He really wasn't on the NFL Draft's radar to this point, but if he could have a big 2021 campaign, maybe he would. He ended up proving it as he had a career year. He had 43 catches for 800 yards and 7 touchdowns, with his best game coming against Northern Iowa, where he had 5 catches for 163 yards and 1 touchdown. He ended up winning another FCS national title and was also selected to play in the Reese Senior Bowl. While there, he began to show his skill. Honestly, I had not heard of him until the Senior Bowl, but I kept seeing his name repeatedly in articles after that weekend, and now Watson has started to blow up. He had an incredible combine performance, which has now put him in talks to be a first-round pick. According to some people, Christian Watson was the most impressive player at the combine, and he was a freak of nature. His 40 time was 4.3 seconds, and then he had an 11-foot 4-inch broad jump and a 38.5-inch vertical. He also had the second largest hands amongst all wide receivers and tight ends at the NFL Combine, and according to Next Gen Stats, he earned a max 99 athleticism score, which in comparison puts him in the same conversation as guys such as Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, and Andre Johnson. Those are some really elite names to be paired with, and with all this athletic potential, Watson's ceiling at the next level is unreal. I keep seeing him going to the Colts, and as a Colts fan, I would like that, but I think Watson will be a first-round pick when it's all said and done. And while he didn't have the greatest production in college, I think at 6'4", he's going to fit very well into the NFL and be a household name and someone who could blow up as a rookie. But it's crazy because going back in time, he was the runt, a 2-star recruit, a guy with one offer, and wasn't even the best receiver on his team, and now he's making history. It's a crazy story, and if you want to support today's video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps the channel. Let me know what player, topic, or anything I could do in my next video. Subscribe if you are new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.